Chapter 11, Youth Center 1. After 3 months on the juvenile block at DC jail, I had a farewell party and was sent to the youth center at Lorton Reformatory for a 90-day psychological study. I was held in a diagnostic center for psychiatric, psychological, and medical examinations. Prison was for 18 to 24-year-olds, and the study was to determine my full psychological profile before sentencing. The prison exclusively held youths sentenced to youth rehabilitation sentences, commonly called the Youth Act. But it had a cell block for prisoners like me doing the 90-day psychological studies. It was called The Mission, a very dangerous block that Youth Act prisoners would sometimes walk in with swords and machetes to rob the whole block, or to attack an adversary. Youth Center was a 53-acre compound that opened in 1960. Initially, the prisoners wore suits and ties and could acquire a trade to have their records expunged, and the buildings were designed to resemble a university campus. But now, everyone wore prison-issued blues and clothes from society, and the buildings looked like ran-down housing projects. Once I got there, I realized that Lorton wasn't a prison, though everybody called it that. Lorton was actually the name of the city the prisons were located in. And it wasn't just one prison. It was 8 different prisons that sat on 3,200 acres, located in the suburbs of Virginia. They weren't even in the same complex. Most of them were a few miles apart. The prison sat next to a sewage plant and 3 trash landfills that was subject to methane gas leaks. 4 years prior, a gas explosion killed 1 inmate and injured many others. Less than a quarter mile down the road was the prison's dairy farm where cows were milked for the prisoners. Vultures hovered over the prison 24 hours a day. I was 17 and the youngest person on the compound. It had 6 cell blocks that were constructed like apartment blocks or housing projects. Between each of the cell blocks were walkways and grass. The walkways led to the chow hall, the gym, and the ball field. The young inmates ran every part of the prison. They had a landscaping crew that kept the grass cut and the bushes shaved. All the lawnmowers were inoperative though, because they were stripped of the blades. Those blades were turned into machetes. Screwdrivers were turned into ice picks. Padlocks were placed into socks and turned into mini wrecking balls. Any flat piece of steel was broken off and transformed into daggers. Human beings were transformed into pincushions. The bus coming from DC jail would pull up in the middle of the compound with dozens of young convicts looking to see who would be getting off. Some people got butchered as soon as they stepped off of the bus. It usually came from either being a snitch, beefs from the streets or DC jail, or maybe a contract hit. Because I was well known on the streets, as soon as I stepped off of the bus, it was 5 young men waiting for me. 3 from the south side and 2 from uptown where I was from. 1 passed me a knife, 2 grabbed my bags, and the others walked with me to hit me to the happenings on the compound. 1 was a legend on the south side by the name of Mumbo Scales. With this, accompanied with the fact that 1, it was my first conviction, 2, I'm a juvenile, 3, it was a plea bargain, and 4, I didn't get into any trouble while at the notorious youth center. 90 days later, I returned for sentencing in front of this lenient towards juveniles judge.